The average person drives approximately 12,000 miles per year. That equates to about 33 miles a day. Spending this much time behind the wheel can be safe or dangerous based on several factors. When driving, you'll have to recognize how to properly handle many things, such as traffic, reading signs, checking your speed, calculating your following distance, weather, reacting to dangerous conditions, controlling your vehicle, and many more. It is your responsibility to know and obey all traffic laws and to perform the necessary actions to keep you and your fellow motorists safe. Driving safe is a tremendous responsibility that requires 100% focus to properly handle all of the factors going on outside of our vehicles. A couple of questions to consider are: what happens if you do not know and obey the rules of the road? And what happens if you do not handle these situations properly? The answer is you put yourself and others at risk. The risk of getting into wrecks and receiving tickets are obvious ones to point out. Other risks include increased insurance rates, driver's license points, suspended license, attorney fees, injury to you and others, and ultimately death. In the U.S., there's an auto wreck every 60 seconds. That equals about 5 million wrecks per year. About 85 to 93% of these wrecks are due to driver error. Most of the time, the driver error isn't from a lack of knowledge. It's from choosing to do things behind the wheel of the car that we shouldn't do. So what types of things am I talking about? All things that would take a driver's focus away from the dangerous conditions of driving. Simply put, driver distractions. I want to emphasize that distractions don't make us distracted. We choose to be distracted, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. All drivers, experienced or not, must stay focused and pay full attention to the hazardous driving conditions. The term distracted driving refers to anything that takes your eyes, hands, or mind away from driving. Statistics show in 2009, approximately 5,500 people were killed by distracted drivers. Keep in mind, these statistics only take into account the drivers that actually admit to being distracted, and I feel it naive that all drivers involved in motor vehicle deaths admit that they were doing things wrong. I'll bet most of you can think of some things your parents do while driving that distract them and put themselves at risk. Many people truly believe they can do two things at one time, just as well as they can do a single thing alone. Let's see if that's possible.
Now we're going to talk about distractions in the car. Our brains are designed for us to do one thing at one time, much more effective than when we do multiple things at one time. And so I've drawn a chart here on the board, and we're going to do an exercise to prove what happens when we do multiple things at one time. 3, 2, 1, go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Very good. You made up time there on the end. So that took you about 16 seconds. Now we're going to do your ABCs. I want you to count them out as fast as you can. On my cue. 3, 2, 1, go.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, Y, W, X, Y, and Z.
Very good. Very good. Okay, that took you about 6 seconds. Okay. All right. So now, this took you a little over 15 seconds. Okay. You're going to do both of them. You have to say it out loud and touch the number with the chalk. 3, 2, 1, go.
A, B, C, D, H, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, Y, W, X, Y, and Z. W,
5,
Z. A, B, C, D, H, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, Y, W, X, Y, and Z. A, B, C, D, H, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, Y, X, and Z, Z. I don't know. A, B, C, D, H, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. Oh my God.
Okay,
A, B, C, D.
that's
I'm
good.
done.
What just happened? Everyone watching this video, if asked to do this exercise, would have similar results. The problem is, the human brain is not designed to do two things at one time better or equal to doing one thing at a time. I always like to pay special attention to each person who participates in this exercise to see if they pay more attention to the letters or to the numbers. I think it's relevant that we recognize the simplicity of this exercise. Counting 1 to 12 and saying our ABCs are two of the most basic things we learn in our lives. It's one of the first things we learned as children. And yet, as simple as these two things are, we witnessed poor results in this exercise. Imagine how difficult it must be to do two things at the same time, like driving a vehicle in city traffic and texting a friend. You may come across hundreds of possible distractions in the car. However, we'll focus on 5. Many of you will not have a problem with all these 5 distractions. Maybe you'll be guilty of doing 1 or 2 of these things every now and then. I hope you can clearly see the danger you're in when you're distracted while driving. The first distraction I would like to discuss is your radio and CD player. Everyone likes music, and listening to music in the car is not always a bad thing. Every year, radios and CD players become more advanced. Many of the functions and features of these new systems are incredible. Listening to music can be distracting, but more dangerous can be handling the systems themselves. As you drive down the road, it is very important to never take your eyes off the road for more than a quick glance. Let me share some numbers with you. When you're traveling at a speed of 30 miles an hour, you cover 42 feet per second. At 40 miles an hour, you cover 56 feet per second. And at 60, you cover 84 feet per second. Let's think about that for a minute and try to put things in perspective. When you're driving at 60 miles an hour and you take your eyes off the road for 3 seconds, you would have covered 252 feet. A football field is 300 feet. Can you imagine how much damage your car would do over the distance of a football field? So when you change out a CD or try to adjust the bass of a particular track, how much time do you spend with your eyes off the road? How long will it take to adjust your equalizer? Will you plug in your MP3 or iPod to your radio system? Will you do this while you're driving? Make these changes while you're stopped at a light or a stop sign. You can always pull over to a safe place, or the best option is to make your adjustments before you leave. Many of the 5,500 people that died while driving distracted died while they were making changes to their radio system. I'm sure they did not think they were as distracted as they turned out to be. Most wrecks that happen because someone was distracted while adjusting their radio are preventable. The second distraction I would like to discuss is eating in the car. We all get hungry, and we don't always have time to sit down and eat our meals. If you're not in a hurry, do not get into the habit of eating while you're driving. Eat in your car after you're parked, or just go inside and eat. If you have to eat while you're driving, then you should take some precautions. Here is a list of the most food offenders in the car. Number 1, coffee. It spills easily and it's very hot. Number 2, hot soup. People drink it like coffee and it runs the same risks. Number 3, tacos. A food that can crumble itself with one bite, leaving your car looking like a salad bar. Number 4, chili. The dreaded chili stain on the front of your shirt. And number 5, hamburgers. Grease, ketchup, and mustard. It could all end up in your hands, your clothing, and the steering wheel. So is there anything else you can do? Yes, make sure there's a lid on your coffee, as well as any drink you have in the car. If you're in the mood for a taco, then order a taco, but eat it inside. Really, how much time does it take to eat a taco? In life, there's a time and place for everything. There's no right time for eating a potentially sloppy meal while driving. How many of the 5,500 people died while eating? If you must eat while driving, eat a granola bar or something that won't make a mess. The third driver distraction is passengers in our car. I'll focus on the friends that will be in your vehicle because for teenagers, they're usually the problem. 90% of teens say that passenger behavior has distracted them while driving. Spending time with your friends is great. Your friends can add value to your life, and you will most likely spend many hours in the vehicle with your friends. You'll be driving your friends back and forth from school, sporting events, after-school functions, and at night to and from various activities. Sometimes people get excited and pay more attention to the conversation going on in the car than they do to their driving. Your true friends would never intentionally try to distract you while driving, but sometimes it does happen unintentionally. You may have to ask your friends to keep it down. You may have to turn the radio down and ask your friends to please keep things quiet so you can concentrate. If you learn that certain people in your car will not respect your wishes, then you should make arrangements for that person to find other means of transportation. Asking certain friends not to ride with you may be difficult, but you need to see the big picture. Many drivers and passengers die every year in cars because their friends were distracting. Your friends cannot bring you back to life or make your injuries disappear. There's plenty of time to be loud and have fun once you get where you're going. That is, if you get there. The fourth distraction is talking on your cell phone. According to the research, 75% of Americans between the ages of 12 and 17 own a cell phone. 82% of Americans aged 16 and 17 have cell phones. 84% of cell phone users stated that they believe using a cell phone while driving increases the risk of being in an accident. At least 38 states have bans on cell phones for use while driving. According to the Human Factors and Ergonomics Society, drivers talking on cell phones are 18% slower to react to brake lights. This is an alarming stat. Most people do not allow additional time to react while using the phone. Using a hands-free device is better than holding the phone in your hand, but not as much as you think. When using hands-free, people will check their blind spots better and signal better because they have the use of both hands and can turn more easily. The truth is, talking on the phone while driving is still multitasking. You're doing two things at one time, and we've seen what happens when we do that. There are liability issues to deal with as well. We live in a lawsuit-happy world today. People will try to sue you. If you're involved in a collision, you can rest assured that the attorney of the person you hit will check your phone records to see if you were on the phone when the crash occurred. What percentage of calls you receive are what you consider very important? And I don't mean like Tommy broke up with Katie. I mean important when you look at the big picture. If your state and parents allow you to talk and drive, you should make some adjustments when taking a call. First, glance to see who is calling and evaluate your situation. For example, you may be 3 minutes from your destination. Just wait and call back. It may be a friend or a call that you know is not important. Just call back later. You can always pull off the road safely and then take the call. If it's a call that you're going to take, then slow down and increase your following distance. Rear-end collisions are the #1 type of collision in the U.S. Your reaction time is slower when you're on the phone, so you will need to double your following distance. Many times, the parents of a teen killed in a car crash can find out what happened by speaking to the person their child was talking to when the crash occurred. How many of these conversations with friends are worth losing a life over? The fifth distraction is texting while driving. Texting is now the leading cause of distraction in the car for teens. Most teens own cell phones, and 76% of them send and receive text messages. Most people that talk on their cell phones are at least looking in front of them most of the time. Texting involves typing and looking at the screen of the cell phone. Teen drivers are 3 times more likely to be involved in a fatal car crash than any other age group. Teens are more likely to text and drive than any other age group. In most studies, 50% of the teens surveyed admitted to texting while driving. Most also admitted that they know it's dangerous. Studies have found that texting while driving causes a 400% increase in time spent with eyes off the road. Even while 37% of the teens rated text messaging while driving as extremely or very distracting, they continue to send and receive text messages in their moving vehicles. Teen drivers are 4 times more likely than adults to get into car crashes directly related to texting. For every 6 seconds of driver time, a driver sending or receiving text messages spends 4.6 of those seconds with their eyes off the road. While talking and texting are both dangerous, texting is more serious. You can apply the same reasoning with texting that we spoke of about talking on your cell phone. It's best just to wait until the car is stopped and then read your text and reply. Once the car is moving, you should stay focused on driving. You can also pull off the road safely and check your text. The same messages about life and death can be asked here as well. Are the messages worth dying? You will never reply to a text if you die. I suggest you turn off your cell phone while driving. Let's think about the 5,500 people that die every year in a car due to driver distractions. What do you think those people would give to get back that moment in life where they chose to be distracted? Think of what they lost. Most of those people were in high school or college and never got to finish school. They were never able to find a career and work in a meaningful job. They never married and had kids. Their lives were cut short because they did not see the big picture. The things I just mentioned are what's important in life, not taking a meaningless phone call or sending a text message to a friend that you could have done later. 67% of the deaths in ages 16 to 24 are in a car. If you do not live to be 25, you will probably die in a car. What is going to cause that fatal crash? Will it be because you were distracted? Use the car for what it's meant to be used for. It's a means of transportation. Driving demands and carries much responsibility. The things you choose to do or not do while driving could mean life or death. Stay safe and stay alive by choosing today not to be distracted while driving.